Good morning and welcome to our Friday show. On the mark, myself and Shaheel, we're going to go through this card as best as we can. It is a tough card. The two of us were talking about it driving up to the studio. It is quite a tough card. Very difficult to find a bank. I think I've got one. Hopefully you've got one and it's not the same as mine, but tough card. Pick 8. Wouldn't surprise me if it's carried over again because it is a very, very hard card to find the winners. Let's see how well we can get through this card. 0-20 first race, always tough to find the winners in these 0-20s, 1400. I have to say, Shaheel, the first race, a tough race, a tough race to find the winner in the first. And I would imagine you've done well if you've got through with sort of as much as you can afford.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 0-20 and 0-20s are never easy. Let's see how we cope with it.
Yeah, okay, well, let me go with my first choice. I don't know why. I wouldn't say I don't know why. I have to give you a reason why. Master Silver. I thought that was a good run last time. I know he got beat 4.5 lengths by Romanus, but he was very unlucky that day. Couldn't get a run. I think that this horse is now, he's had the 4 runs. He's had the 1 place when he ran third first time out. But I just feel that this horse is slowly coming to hand. Gavin Glover, the owner, he had a good day last week. He's looking to carry on. And I have to say that the Patrick Mervyn, Shaheel Ayadassen combination has done pretty well. And he's going to be drawn 5, this horse. And he's not, look, I'm not banking by any stretch of the imagination, but I just feel that this horse is going to run a good race. I think you told me he's currently trading at about 600 rupees. Yeah. So yeah, he's going to be a little bit of a value bet for me. Like I said, I like that last run. I like the way that this horse is improving. His track work has been pretty good as well. He's a young horse. And normally you do find in these 0-20s, it's the younger horses that are sort of just finding their feet that are probably a little bit better than the older horses. Valoran, you have to respect him. Obviously, the draw's not a major issue for him. He does come from off the pace. But have a look at his form. He's run behind some decent horses in this sort of division. In fact, he hasn't been out the first 3 in his last 5 starts. So he's ultra consistent. Once again, I think he's going to be running a good race here. I'll probably, obviously, you'll have to add him in as well. And then Majestic Moon, another horse that you feel has to have a chance. If you go back, I think he's had the 1 win in Mauritius. He's looking to pull off his 2nd win. And he's drawn 3, Roland Botanive in the irons. And in this sort of field, you can't ignore him. And I think this is his first time in 0-20. So let's see how he goes. So I'm in a tough race. I'm going to go 7-5-4. I don't know if you're sort of working out agrees with that, Shaheel. What do you like in the first?
Actually, like Valoran, he's like you mentioned, he's always there or thereabouts. I went back and checked his form. It's a long form though. The last time Swapnil Rama, who's back in the irons this week, rode him, that was in a benchmark of 51. So it's very surprising to see that he's dropped so much in the rating. Yeah. But he's now in a 0-20. But like you mentioned, he's doing so well in the 0-20. Yes, he's won only once, but he's always there or thereabouts. His only win has come from barrier 8, so not much of a concern there. He's going to come from off the pace again, so he should contest the finish. Champ Track is an interesting runner because he ran a promising third on the 6th of July behind Red Indy when he was third. He never managed to get a draw after that. He was drawn 10 and 11 on his last 2 starts. He finally cracks the draw 1, drops to a 0-20 for the first time, has shown some speed, so he can move up to take the lead here or fall into a prominent position. Could be a nice horse, trap in a 0-20. And then I agree with you for Master Silva. You know, these Master of my Fate, they do pretty well after 1 or 2 runs. He's trying to find his feet here. Like you mentioned, the Shaheel Ayadassen and Patrick Mervyn after Vasco Street Track and Viking Trail, was it last week? So yeah, they're doing well at the moment, so I'm going to keep him in my traffic now, so got it.
Yeah, that's right. I actually forgot, or not forgot, I had it written down here. Swapnil Rama, he could quite easily his first ride back and win, you know. Yeah. I see he's got 8 rides.
Full card.
I wonder if he's fit enough. I hope he doesn't need his first run. All right, so well, at the end of the day, it looks like a tough race, but we're more or less on the same sort of lines. Valoran, Master Silver, Majestic Moon, and then I do agree with the Chap Trap that run to Red Indy. If he leads this was Chap Trap. He too, first time in 0-20. So yeah, let's hope you get through that first leg of the pick 8. It is quite a tough opening event. Right, let's move over to the second race, and it's a 1650 benchmark 36. And I really do like this horse, Al Sakra. I know you've been preaching him to me for a long, long time. That was a good run last time to blow in the box. He's drawn 2. Most likely, I would imagine they're going to try and adopt the South African tactics when he used to race out in front. Shaheel, look, good first run, under a length to Cyber Special. I think he probably that second run syndrome. And then once again, he came back and ran a good race last time when he came from off the pace. I do believe that he's going to be a better horse if he does lead, because going back to his South African form, his best runs were when he led. So he's drawn 2. Do you see anything challenging him for the lead? Maybe 8 Cities, who's going to be drawn 5, but 8 Cities doesn't really have to lead, but he has got some nice speed, 8 Cities. He's done pretty well, this was 8 Cities, but he's now as well. He won in 36 last time, and he won a good race, so you can't ignore him either. But I'm going to stick with Al Sakra as my first choice. Mr. Hardy sort of fluffed his lines a little bit last time, but that form line's been pretty good, the Euroclodian form line. Wordbuster, he ran just behind Mr. Hardy. He's come out and won. And then one horse that's I've been following, and I did talk about it on Wednesday, is Duke's Domain, and he's pulled the 1 draw. I think that this horse is now, he had the 2 runs under his belt. He also ran just behind Mr. Hardy in that Euroclodian form line. I do believe that Duke's Domain keeps on improving, and I'm definitely going to put him in as a big danger in the second race. But at the end of the day, Al Sakra, even if he doesn't get to the front, I think it just looks like he's ready to run a good race.
Yeah, I agree with you. I hope he does get to the front. He's drawn barrier too, so he should be able to lead from there. He was a powerful frontrunner back in South Africa. Even sometimes they use him as a pacemaker for Majestic Mambo's those big group ones. So he's a horse who's got ability, and I like the way that they space out his runs. You know, he doesn't races very often, so that's nice of him because he's not a big horse. So I like Al Sakra. Mr. Hardy, like you mentioned, probably he was beaten by the circumstances last time. Actually, I don't think he appreciated the going. There was heavy rain that day, and Euroclodian just was a runaway winner that day. The weather looks quite nice this morning. Hopefully it stays like that still tomorrow for Mr. Hardy. And then for third, actually, like Memphis Mafia, that was a really promising third last time. He lost the 1 point, so he now drops to the 36. They've put the blinkers back on him. So he could be a special horse in this kind of benchmark of 36. He could probably bag a winner till the end of the season in this benchmark.
Yeah, first time I wouldn't say, I don't know if it's forever, but first time we've seen him in 36, and he did run on well. I mean, if you go back to International Day last year, he won in a 41. But he's one of those horses that on his day he puts in a good performance. He definitely must have a chance, Memphis Mafia. Right, so we're agreeing Al Sakra in the second. Okay, great. Right, then it's the 990 benchmark 41. It is the third race. I did mention I thought I had a bank, and I believe that this horse, I think we got a banker somewhere, and I'm going to take a chance and bank a Superstitious. There was a cracking run to buy by Ruckert last time. He's drawn 3 once again. His form over the 990 has been good. He beat AP Strike. Did AP Strike win recently? Yeah, last week, yeah. So AP Strike's won by Rocket with a decent horse, and this horse has come out and beaten him, and he's drawn 3. I do believe that Superstitious will run a cracker. Tuesday morning, he was one of your horses in the training, and I thought he worked very well as well on Tuesday, so I think we're going to have to take a chance. Obviously, JJ's captain's a decent horse, but he's coming up from a 31 to a 41. So where this horse has won in 41 already, Superstitious. And then one horse you can't ignore is obviously Great Value. 2 very good runs before. Last time he fluffed his lines a little bit, but he did finish 3 lengths behind Superstitious on that day. But I suppose every horse you can excuse him one bad run. So Rahib, Dollar Tractor, that sort of form line is pretty good, but I'm going to stick my neck out here and go with Superstitious as a banker.
Yeah, he's an amazing horse, a real revelation for his connection this season. Already pulled out 3 wins, 2 places. Last time I think he was a bit unlucky. I'm not criticizing Besson, but with a more stronger ride, he could probably have beaten by Rocket or just closer to him. He gets Shaheel Ayadassen tomorrow, gets a good draw, working well, like you mentioned. He worked alongside Wendell on Tuesday morning in what was a very good gallop. I do believe he'll be very hard to beat too.
Okay.
His dangers probably could be Baron Bellet. He ran a good race last time to Rahib. He's now down in class, still got a featherweight, drawn barrier 1. We got to keep an eye on this Baron Bellet.
Yeah, he's had 13 runs, 10 places, and he has come down the ratings a little bit as well. So I suppose you have to respect him. But I think for pick 8 and pick 6 players, there's not many bankers, and take a chance and bank a Superstitious. But obviously, if he gets beat, or there's so many horses you'll have to put in here. So tough race. I won't say tough race, but it's a decision.
If he doesn't win.
Decision you need to make. Are you going to take the chance and bank him, or add a couple? Right. Let's move on to race 4, and this horse worked very well on Tuesday morning. Editor Trail. He's a decent horse. He ran a very good second to Silken Prince last time. I honestly think that the 1600 is going to be in his favour. Okay, yes, he is drawn 8, but he comes from off the field, off the pace. So I don't think the draw's too much of a major concern for him. But like I said, I think the 1600 is going to suit him. I'm going to make him my first choice. That was a terrific win when he beat Texas Sky. A good run last time, running on to Silken Prince. This is why I feel the 1600 is going to suit him. Remember, at 1450 last time, the false rail was out almost 4 meters. So it was. That's why I just feel, I don't know how you feel. Do you think the mile will be better for him?
Yeah, I do think so. In fact, I'm going to take a chance and bank him. I really like this horse a lot. He's working really well at the moment, like I mentioned on Tuesday. He's looking phenomenal. I didn't have the time to check the weight, but in my opinion, I think he's taken some kilos, which is a good thing for him because he was very light early on in the season. Yeah. But he's looking great at track work now. No luck with the draw, but like you mentioned, he's going to have to come from off the pace.
Yes.
Last time, I think he was pulled hopelessly wide, and it wasn't the best of rides from the Leisure Glad, but even then, Manuel Nunes had 2 lengths on him. He always had the first run, but he came out running, and he won a close second to Silken Prince. In the absence of Silken Prince tomorrow, I do believe he's the best horse in the race. I know you've got a soft spot for Consul War. He's a horse that you like, but I'm going to take a chance and bank on number 1, Editor Trail.
Yeah, Editor Trail, I think this is why I think the mile will suit him, because he seems to lose his races when they're quicken up at the 400. He battles, he takes a bit of time to get going, and I think this is where Silken Prince made up that ground on him, and this is why I honestly believe that the 1600 will suit him. I do like Consul of War, well, not when I say I prefer Editor Trail, but Consul of War, that last win was very impressive when he came from absolutely nowhere, flew up to beat Netflix, or he actually won going away that particular day. After that bad fall, I mean, there's not many horses that come back after a fall like that. That was in 41. He's now up to 46, where Editor Trail has won in 46. So that's one thing to keep in mind as well. And then Springman, hasn't he been disappointing, that South African form of his? I'm going to give him one more chance, probably not to win, but to fill up the placings, because this horse's form, South African form, is too good to ignore. He obviously sort of hasn't really, the penny hasn't really dropped for him as far as Mauritian racing is concerned. But you can never sort of ignore a horse like this Springman. Like I said, that South African form was top form. So I'm going to put him in as my third choice. But I'm starting to agree with you. Editor Trail could maybe be a banker as well. I like that work, and the fact that he's going over the 1600 might just persuade me to banker number 1, Editor Trail, in the 4th. Right, it is the 5th race. It's the 1600 meter benchmark 56, and Mamba Rock. I really like this horse, Shaheel. That Uzo form, he beat Uzo last time. I don't think everything went 100% right for him. He only got beat half a length by Uzo. My only question mark is that he's never, even though he's a horse that looks like he's looking for the 1600, he's never won a 1600, and remember, he's a 6-time winner. So 6-time winner, and the furthest that he's actually won in Mauritius is a 1450. So that is a little bit of a concern, but he's a sort of horse, in my opinion, looks like he wants the 1600.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to find out tomorrow, but he's by Mamba in Seattle, and they do stay. So I do think now, I mean, he came here as a 3-year-old, if I'm not mistaken. He's now a 5-year-old, so with maturing and more racing, he's now should be suitable to the 1600 meters he's drawn to. And it's not a large field. Last time what happened was he incommodated a little bit at the start, and then after that he had to make up a lot of ground, and he finished on the same line. I think it was 6 or 7 horses which were on the same lines. Yeah. He was one of them. Tomorrow, with a small field and probably not the best of fields, he stands a good chance.
I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I think that form line has been pretty good as well, that Uzo race where they all finished across the, there's the 1 or 2 winners that have come out of that race, so I can't, at the top of my head, can't really think about it. But Mamba Rock, I think that the 1600 is going to suit him. Okay, then let's look at the dangers. Charleston Yera, he's sort of found that form, that 2017 form. Because in 2018 he was getting left, he wasn't enjoying his racing, but he's really done well. But he's had a lot of racing. What has he had? He's had, this will be his 9th run this season, but he keeps on running good races. That was an excellent 3rd behind Moonrise Sensation last time in 1850. Dennis Sufel has ridden him. He does know the horse. In fact, he ran behind Cool at Heart when he rode Charleston Euro. So I would imagine he's been pretty consistent. You'd have to add him in again, especially all your exotics. And then in a million, wasn't that a terrific win last time when he absolutely flew that last 100. My only concern is that we haven't seen him for 2 months for whatever reason. But I've been following his track work. His work has been pretty good. He looks pretty fit. And if he runs anything like he did last time, he must be a big danger here as well. So Mambo Rock, Charles and Euro in a million. That's my trifecta.
I'm going the same too, because like you mentioned, not the best of fields. Charleston Hero, decent form this season. If he jumps on terms with Dinesh Shuffle, he should be right there. Even if he drops back to the mile and in a million, all will depend if he can confirm that win up last time. They're trying the tongue tie for the first time with him. So let's see how he goes.
Yep, okay. I see Charles Euro has run in a benchmark 56, and he wasn't disgraced, a couple of lengths behind Al-Shiba. And we all saw what Al-Shiba did in the Maiden Cup. So Charles Euro, he's definitely got the class and the form to win. I'll tell you one also we haven't spoken about. Unfortunately, he's carrying a kilo overweight, is the Byzantine. He won a very good race last time, the Byzantine, and maybe another horse that you'd think about adding into your pick 8 if you can afford it. Right, the 6th race, it is the sponsors race, the Hennessy Park Hotel Challenge Trophy. It's a 1650, it's a 55 plus rating. And I've been following this horse this whole year, Ready to Attack. I thought he was going to, I must be honest, I liked Tsitsikamma Dance quite strongly last time, but I thought he'd run a good race. He's now going to be 2.5 kilograms better off with Tsitsikamma Dance. He is 5.5 kilos better off with Opera Royal. He is a previous horse of the year. He's won classics as horse. He's had a lot of bad luck, and I think if ever he's going to win a race this season, it could be this. I'm not. It's a tough. I mean, you can see my book. It's just full of. It's a tough race. But I'm going to put Ready to Attack as my first choice, and there's a bit of value there. I think he's trading at 550. But if he runs anything like he has behind Tsitsikamma Dance, Ideal Secret, Argun, those races he was so unlucky, and he should have won. So I'm going to give him my vote in the 6th race. Danger's obviously Opera Royal, but he is coming up in class and up in weight, but he's a decent horse, this Opera Royal. You have to respect him. And I love the way Kings County won last time. He was rushed from that bad draw. He raced wide the whole way up the hill, and he still just went away from them in the straight. So Kings County, definitely a big runner here. And then obviously Jean-Michel's coupling. You've got to respect them as well.
That's right, actually. Like number 5, Kings County was so impressive last time for us. He didn't break too well that day, actually, and he tried to rush him to the front. He was free wide in that first bend. I thought he was going to fade away in the closing stage of that race, but he managed to kick again, and he won well. He won by at least more than a length. So I'm going to take a chance and go with Kings County again. He's drawn free. If he doesn't lead again, we know now he can follow and fire. Horse Gods is a horse that I absolutely love, but to be back after 1 year absence on a 1650 could be too far for him, and on top of that he's got top weight, 9 barrier, could be tough for him, but I'm going to stick him with my trifecta quartets. And then, like you mentioned, Opera Royal is a horse that has been progressing with each and every run. Of course, Manuel Nunes will be missing Manuel Nunes, but Coste Ramsam is a good rider too, so trifecta I'll go with 5, 1 and 2.
Okay. Yeah, I really like the look of Ready to Attack. I just got this feeling that he's going to bounce back to that form when he won those classics and he was horse of the year. All right, let's move over to race 7, 1400 benchmark 31, probably one of the toughest races on the card once again. And I say that because I'm really bullish about Watch Me Dad. But unfortunately, he's gone and pulled the worst draw. He's going to be drawn 10 out of 10 now with the emergency acceptor coming out. But he is also, it comes from off the pace. But this horse is really sort of, he's blossomed in the Reset stable. Yeah. Once again, not taking anything away from Jean-Michel Henry, I'm not saying, but he, obviously the change of scenery, he's really been doing well. He's working well, this horse, Watch Me Dad. And I think he's a lot better than what he's shown us. Not a little. I think he's a lot better than he's shown us. He beat Red Indy, and then he sort of really hasn't really fired. Has Watch Me Dad, but I tell you, he's not going to meet a weaker field than this. And if things go his way from that draw, he probably will pull off the 7th race. His dangers, obviously, Captain Moss. He won his previous start. Not a bad run behind the Jazz Singer last time. And then Wendell, I'm a little bit worried about the 1400. He won in South Africa over 1,000, if I'm not mistaken. Or did he win? Yeah, he won over 1,000, if I'm not mistaken. It was a good run last time in a 990, but will he stay the 1400? That remains to be seen. But I think if Watch Me Dad has a little bit of luck, he'll probably win this.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wrote. He's the best horse on paper in this race. he's got only the draw to beat. But like even when he won, actually, he won from barrier 9, so it wasn't that bad. But it's never easy to overcome a bad draw on 1400 meters because that first bend comes really, really quick for you. Yeah. So Neisius is going to have to structure a good plan in his head there. But then again, Bartry, that is the best horse in the race. He's dangerous, I agree with you, Wendell. Good for it last time on the 990. He should stay, he's by twice over. And I mentioned that Gallop early on, he worked with Superstitious, so he's pretty well at the moment. And then Captain Moss had a pretty tough race last time. He had to turn in wide, but he still managed to run fourth to the Jazz Singer, who was a runaway winner. So I'm gonna stick out and banker watch me dad. I mean, not a banker, but if he beats the draw, he could be a potential banker.
Yeah, that's what he really is. I would love to see sort of. I mean, look, it's not my horse, but if I was riding this horse, I would from the start I would just drop him straight onto the fence and hope for a little bit of luck because, like you said, to try and make up ground from that outside draw is not going to be easy. Right, it is the 8th and final, the lucky last, the Pacific Ocean Cup. It's a 1500 meter, and once again, it's a rating 0.25. Well, there's some horses that have sort of been quite regular. Artax, I can't understand why he never went to the front last week. I thought he won from the front. I thought he'd probably lead again, but he didn't. This time, Shaheel Ayadassen's riding him. He's drawn 4. I think he could possibly pull this off if he gets to the front. Artax, that was a nice race when he beat Sir Capers, and Sir Capers came out and won. So that form line has stood up. From Artax, he did run last week, so obviously he's going to be fit and well. He's going to be drawn 3 now with the emergency acceptor coming out. I'd like to see him lead, and he could possibly pull this off. Inauguration's been slightly disappointing after that terrific run to Captain Gone Wild. And another horse that I think is a little bit better than what he's shown us. He is tongue-tied for the first time. 7th Silver and New Golden Age. Nothing much between these two as far as form is concerned. They finished right on top of each other when the last time they met. And they both, unfortunately, haven't got the best of draws. So that's why I'm going to put them 3rd and 4th. But Artax Inauguration, I reckon these two are going to fight it out.
I'm actually going to go for number 10, New Golden Age, as my value bid. I think he's trading at around 700 rupees. He exploded through the pack actually last time to finish second. There was a lot of horses in front of him. He just exploded through and finished second to the very impressive It's Him. Once again tomorrow with barrier 9, he's going to have to come from off the pace. But I see that Alain Pedro has used his trump card, so he must have his reasons there why he's used that. This is a targeted race for New Golden Age. So I'm going to stick with New Golden Age to beat Artax actually, who was my value bid of last week. Couldn't understand either why he didn't go to the front. Not much speed on paper. He could probably lead here with barrier 4. And then 7 Silver. Unfortunately, no luck with the draw. From barrier 10, Diego de Gouveia is going to have to ride with plenty of luck from there if he finds a good position to finish off his race.
Okay. All right, well, there you go. Thanks, Shaheel, for that. Before we close up, let's talk about a banker and a value bet. I'll tell you one thing, I don't like banking horses in 990, I must be honest with you, but I think on paper he looks like he's the right horse. So I'm going to bank a number 2, Superstitious, in the 3rd race. My value bet, what did I say it was? I like Ready and Ready to Attack, Master Silver and Ready. But I think I'm going to go with Ready to Attack as my value bet. I'm
going to go with Edith Trail as the banker, and for value bet probably New Golden Age at 6-1.
Okay, great. Well, there we go. That's a wrap. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember, next week we will have Journée where we're going to talk about this meeting, some barrier trials, some sand track work. Once again, I can't remember, there's a feature. It's a South African. I know the South Africans are sponsoring the next race meeting, so I've got quite a lot of friends that will be coming over. So that's what I'm looking forward to next meeting. But Wednesday morning will be Journée. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's hope you have a great day's racing, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.